Welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. Jennifer Lopez's love life is back in the headlines again. Tuesday, she filed for a divorce from actor Ben Affleck, the new Batman. Well, he's not new anymore. The same day as their second wedding anniversary. Wow, that's cold-blooded. Their relationship timeline stems all the way back to 2002 when they first dated. Now, they had plans to get married the following year, but called it off and went their separate ways before reuniting again 20 years later. And Dr. Angela Jones was so happy. She was celebrating. Tonight we ask, is getting back with your ex worth it? Dr. Angela Jones is here on The Factor.
Man, you know, I just feel like J-Lo is obviously going to take a bad rap for this because this is her fourth marriage, even though we don't really know why they got back together. But is it a good idea to get back with your ex? Honestly, the answer is it depends. It depends on what the relationship was like in the first place and why did you end it, and have you guys worked on your issues, worked on yourself in between that time? And
that's key. One of the things you always tell us, are you ready? Are you prepared? And if you're not prepared, then you shouldn't go into another relationship.
Correct.
And she may not, or he may not have been prepared.
You know, and I think the fact that like they were dating in 2002 and then the illusion that 2022, which is about 20 years later, you would think that the other person will be ready. But all the pain and suffering and history and things that happen in between changes people. So you might feel like, man, that was so long ago. I'm sure this person is different, but you really have to make sure that that person is working on themselves. Are you going to therapy? What have you done? Like, this is why we ended it the first time. Where are you in that space? You know, and also, why did we break up in the first place? Because some things should not come back. You know, you shouldn't go back to regardless of time, like physical, any kind of abuse, right? Because that's a trauma, and you're actually putting yourself back into a space where you probably can get re-traumatized. So the answer is, should you get back to ex? The answer is, it depends. Right.
And let's put regular people aside. In this case, we're talking about celebrities, and they could do it for the public.
You know, they could do it for the public. They can do it for paparazzi.
Meaning get back together.
Absolutely. And, you know, because they can afford it. I mean, the thing is that divorce is expensive for the average Joe, right? To get it filed. And depending on the process, if you have children, property, it is a very expensive process. So a lot of people have to rethink, like, do I want to go through that kind of situation again? She's been through it 4 times. But clearly she can afford it. But the average Joe, you have to really think twice, like, do I want to get married to someone that didn't work out in the first place? Because this is going to be a very expensive problem if it doesn't work out. So I feel like celebrities, people who have money, can be a little more careless, honestly, when it comes to relationships, because they financially don't have as much to lose.
Right. And of course, if they get back together and they're in the news, they could become popular again, and they could get more jobs. So they make millions, sometimes millions, and then they're like, I have nothing to lose.
Right. And the thing is with Ben and Jen, you know, the rhyming, you know, the problem is that we have seen over the last year or so, like, the assumption that he's angry, that he's never wanting to be around her, and the assumption that she's really a diva, that she's not really that nice, and she's really selfish. But unfortunately, now when this happens, all those narratives are going to come into play, and people are going to create their own timeline, their own story about why they're not together.
Now, back to the regular folk. If you're trying to decide to get with an ex, and it didn't work out the first time, in theory, what are some of your checklist items that you should take a look at and say, okay, if I can do this and he can or she can do this, then...
My biggest thing is accountability. Can this person take accountability for how they contributed positively and negatively to the relationship in the first time around? And can you take accountability for how you contributed to it too? Just because it may have ended bad doesn't mean you did, or the other person may have been at fault at the end, doesn't mean you didn't contribute to the progression of the relationship. So I think the first thing you need to ask is, this person taking accountability for who they are or what they did and how they treated me the first time around, and what have they done to work on those things? Taking accountability is one step. Action is another step. So you want to see those 2 things before you actually consider moving forward.